All right, what is up, everybody? NFL draft season is upon us. We're about to head into the start of the new league year, so free agency is about to open up, and we are just 47 days away from the first pick of the NFL draft. So I'm going to run through my first round mock draft. We've had a lot of crazy headlines in the last 24 hours. The Chicago Bears getting an absolute haul from the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are now on the clock. Let's hop into it. All right, so Carolina just gave up a boatload of picks and wide receiver DJ Moore to the Chicago Bears for the first overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft. They moved up to go get a quarterback. New head coach Frank Reich never had a quarterback in Indy. After Andrew Luck retired, it was new quarterback after new quarterback. Nobody could stick more than a year. So he moved up to go get his franchise guy. And there's a lot of reports on who they're going to move up and get. I personally think Bryce Young is the number one quarterback in this draft. I know he is small, but he has all the intangibles I want. But you're not giving up that haul to go get a guy like Young. You're going to go with your prototypical type quarterback. They are moving up. Carolina, they're going to take C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. He is their new franchise guy in Carolina. I know Ohio State quarterbacks kind of have a bad track record, but they're going all in on this guy. Good luck, Carolina. All right, for our next pick, Houston here sitting at number 2. Houston thought they might be trading up number 1 to go get their guy. That's not going to be an issue anymore. Their guy has been Bryce Young, targeted for a long time here. I think this is a great fit in Houston. They play in a warm weather division. Most of the teams are indoors. This is a good fit for Bryce Young. Doesn't have the biggest arm, obviously a smaller type guy. I think this will work very well in DeMeco Ryans' new run team. So Houston taking the Alabama star, Bryce Young. Good pick for Houston. Now, Arizona here at number 3, an interesting spot for the Cardinals. They need a lot of help. They got new head coach Rich Gannon, defensive guy. I like this spot for Arizona. Jalen Carter was your number 1 defensive player, but there are some question marks now with his arrest. What are the legal ramifications going to be with Carter? So I think Will Anderson, the Cardinals need some edge rushers. J.J. Watt just retired. He is one of the best pass rushers. He would have been the number 1 overall pick in last year's draft. He couldn't come out, so he comes back and plays this year, and he loses a little bit of stock because he wasn't quite as impactful at Alabama. I think this is a great pick. Any defensive head coach is going to want a guy like this. Nick Saban knows how to coach guys up, and he has nothing but great things to say about Will Anderson. So the Cardinals going with Will Anderson at number 3. This brings on the Colts at number 4. New head coach. I think this is a very interesting spot. They need a quarterback. They got to go quarterback here. The question is, which one of the top other 2 quarterbacks are they going to go with? Is it Will Levis or is it Anthony Richardson? Both guys, SEC guys, both underperformed for the seasons with their teams. Anthony Richardson blew everybody away at the combine with his athleticism, and Will Levis blew everybody away with his arm. So it's a really tough spot here. I think Will Levis is a better fit here for the Colts, what they kind of want to do. But their new head coach did just come from Philly, did just run a Super Bowl offense with Jalen Hurts. I think Jim Irsay, super aggressive owner. I think they're going all in here. They go with Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida. Now we got the Seahawks on the clock. There were some talks possibly going quarterback here at 5. I don't think they do that. They did extend Geno for a few seasons. You could take a guy like Levis. I think they'd like Richardson a little bit more. Sit him behind Geno for a year or 2, develop him. But man, if the Jalen Carter news isn't a disaster and he's sitting right there, I think that's too tasty for Pete to pass up. I think the Seahawks go with Jalen Carter, best defensive player on the big board coming into it. I think they go with Carter. I think it's a great move for them. Pete loves his defensive guys. Run the football, play defense. They hit on all their first 5 draft picks last season. They have been really crushing it, so I think it's a good young team. He's going to try and win a Super Bowl like he did with the Legion of Boom. Okay quarterback play, great defense. That's all Pete wants. Now the Lions, they got this number 6 pick here from the Los Angeles Rams thanks to the Matthew Stafford trade from 2 years ago. 2 picks in the first round. Very good season for the Lions, a lot better than I think most people expected. We're in it till the very last game of the season, and then they eliminated division rival Green Bay from a playoff berth in Lambeau to end it. So they ended the season on a high note. This team's defense was really bad to start the season, but they started to come in their own towards the end of the season. They have great young pass rushers with Aiden Hutchinson. I think they're going to go corner here. I know it says they need D-line linebacker. You got to cover guys on the NFC North. Thinking about Justin Jefferson, Christian Watson with a breakout rookie season. Now you have DJ Moore in Chicago. Go get some corners to cover people. And I think they're going to go with Christian Gonzalez, cornerback out of Oregon, monster combine, big, long, athletic. These are the kind of guys you need with those top-end receivers that are going to be in the division now. I think this is a great scoop up for the Lions here at 6. I know Witherspoon's ranked higher. I just think Gonzalez has higher ceiling, and he's a really impactful player. Starts day 1 for the Lions and really tightens up the back end of that defense. Okay, number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a very interesting spot here with the Raiders. The question is, what are they going to do in free agency? Are they going to be able to sign a quarterback in free agency? Jimmy Garoppolo's been floated around. I don't know. It doesn't seem like McDaniels wants to be that guy that picks up an old veteran. Maybe he goes in on signing a new guy. They're out of the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, obviously. Don't think they're in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, if there even is a Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. I think they go quarterback here, and Will Levis sitting there, kind of a big arm. I know McDaniels is going to have a lot to work with him here. If they don't sign a quarterback in free agency, Raiders go quarterback here. So it's either Jimmy G or Will Levis. I'm going to go Will Levis right now, but this is a very flexible, moving thing right now. Now, this puts the Atlanta Falcons here at 8 in an awkward situation. They're sitting at 8. They kind of need a quarterback. They would really want a quarterback. I think they could potentially be moving up to go grab Will Levis. Maybe they move up to 6 with the Lions. The Lions are okay at sliding back to 8 here. No, they're good at moving back and picking up picks. Possibly Seattle if Jalen Carter isn't available, or Will Anderson. But for right now, no trades in this mock. Atlanta's sitting here at 8. They need a quarterback. They need a wide receiver. They need an edge rusher or a linebacker. I think they go Tyree Wilson here, the pass rusher out of Texas Tech. Very solid guy. Up and down, he can plug and play. Maybe not the highest end defensive end, but he'll be impactful. Kind of the same sticking that Aiden Hutchinson got. Aiden Hutchinson, a little bit more well-rounded of a player coming out, but I think this is a good ad for a Falcons team that just feels like they need a quarterback. Maybe they get Lamar Jackson. Even though they said they're out, they could easily be in. If the Falcons get a quarterback, they are a very competitive team. They were much better than they thought they were going to be last year. That's why they're sitting here at number 8 and not at like number 4. So tough spot for the Falcons if they don't end up moving up to go get a quarterback. I think they go pass rusher here. But now let's go to the Bears here at number 9. The Bears need everything. They got a haul. They got a lot of picks to add to their, team. They need everything. They got to help their quarterback, Justin Fields. I think you're going all in with Justin Fields here. We got 2 receivers sitting on the board, neither of them taken. I think you go with the guy who has potentially the higher upside, maybe a little bit more risky of a pick, but has the familiarity with your quarterback. You got to go all in with your franchise quarterback. We saw the Bengals go all in. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I think they go with Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. Teammates with Justin Fields. This is a big-time pick for them. I know Fields is kind of going to be pounding on the table. Get me my guy at number 9. And I think it's a great pick for them. Really good athleticism. He was hurt most of the year. I think he'd be a way higher rated if he wasn't injured most of last season for Ohio State. He's an explosive wide receiver. We saw how good Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson were in the NFL, and a lot of people said Jackson was the best of the 3 of them. So kind of got that Alabama feel from a few years ago with all these wide receivers. Good pick here by the Bears with Jackson. All right, let's go Eagles. They need some secondary help. I know it says wide receiver, guard, center. They've already given permission for Darius Slay to go seek a trade. They need some cornerback help. They have a couple of free agents, Bradbury, CJ Gardner-Johnson, also free agents. So they got to go corner here. They got to go with Devon Witherspoon. His draft stock's fallen a little bit, I think. with his less than stellar combine, but he's still a very good corner. He's a great tackler, physical guy, not the tallest guy in the world. They were hoping he was going to be coming over 6 foot. He's just shy of that. So not great if you were looking for the big, long corner. I think they go Witherspoon here. Another guy to look at, Joey Porter Jr., very interesting corner. I like him a lot as well. I just think Witherspoon's probably a safer pick, and the Eagles are so close to a Super Bowl team. I think you go with a safer pick rather than a little bit riskier, possibly a higher ceiling. But man, Eagles got to do a little bit rebuilding here. They're at a critical point in this team's future, so I like Witherspoon here at number 10. Okay, Tennessee here at 11. Tennessee's in an awkward, weird spot. I don't know what they're necessarily doing. They're shopping Derrick Henry. They're saying Tannehill's still their quarterback. I think they're going to go wide receiver here. I just don't quite know what they could do. I mean, are you in rebuild mode or are you not? They did cut Taylor Lewan, their tackle, so they could very well go tackle here. It's a real toss-up for me. I'm not quite sure what Mike Vrabel and the future of this team holds. They could be in full rebuild. Now, if you're in full rebuild, do you necessarily take a receiver here and waste some of those early years, or do you go with like a tackle that's probably not going to leave you in free agency and you get a franchise type level player? I think they go offensive line here when it's all said and done. I would maybe prefer a wide receiver for them, but I think they're going to go with Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. Little less than stellar combine, tweaked his hamstring doing some drills, so going to fall a little bit here, but it's the first tackle off the board. Not an elite offensive line draft as far as the top end goes, but I think this is a good pick. They're losing a lot of offensive linemen. You got to replenish with some young guys here, and I think they're going to be bad this year upcoming, have a top pick, and possibly be going for Caleb Williams or Drake May next season. So interesting move here for the Titans. Overall, I think they're in rebuild mode. Okay, the Texans on the clock here in number 12. This pick is courtesy of the Cleveland Browns, thanks to the Deshaun Watson trade. Houston just got their quarterback. They need a center. They need a defensive lineman. You also need some receivers for your new quarterback. You got a local guy from the state of Texas, Quentin Johnson, sitting there. I think they go wide receiver here to pair with Brandon Cooks. Now, Brandon Cooks kind of says he wants to be traded, so he might end up being traded. I think this is a good pick here for the Texans. Get your young quarterback's weapons. Now, you got to protect him. I just think you go wide receiver here, get him guys to throw him the ball, make it a nice, big, easy, fast target. He was great all season. And look, TCU had a great run, and he made Max Duggan look real good at times. So if you can get a good quarterback, a top-end quarterback like Bryce Young, a receiver like Quentin Johnston, I think this is a very good fit in Houston. All right, it's the Jets turn. Very surprising season, kind of a bad finish. This team had both Rookie of the Years on offense and defense, and it looks like at any day now they could be landing future Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers, so I don't know if they're going to have this pick. They probably will. 13's a pretty high pick. I think they might end up only having to give up a second round and a conditional fourth or third round pick, so I think they're still going to have this pick. Rodgers, he's got some good young weapons. They could possibly sign another person. OBJ is another guy talking about him, so they don't need a quarterback necessarily. Probably need a tackle here. Like I said, though, not the best tackle draft. Paris Johnson, 19th ranked guy. I think they do end up going tackle, though. You get an offensive lineman for Rodgers. You don't really need more help on the defense, and you don't really need more help on the skill position spot. Maybe you go tight end, but Rodgers doesn't like working with young guys anyway. I think you go with Paris Johnson, keep Rodgers happy, try and protect your quarterback for the 2 years moving up. This is kind of a safe pick for the Jets here, but you're going to be very happy with Rodgers, and I don't think they roll the dice too much here with this draft because they think they're Super Bowl ready. Okay, New England right now, good team. Potentially Bill Belichick's getting towards the end here. They're going to roll with Mac Jones, Bill O'Brien back in as offensive coordinator. They're not going to draft a quarterback. I don't even think they're going to draft a tackle. This Luke Van Ness pick right here from Iowa had a nice combine. Feels like a big Bill Belichick kind of guy. athletic, rush the passer, kind of an awkward guy that most people haven't heard of in college, was a lockdown, like, game wrecker when he was healthy for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I think that's got the Patriots written all over it. He tends to find the best available pass rushers. They always got a guy that gets after the quarterback, New England. I think this fits Bill Belichick to a T here. They go edge. They go Luke Van Ness at 14. Very good value pick for them. Okay, Packers here at 15. Trading away. It looks like you're trading away Aaron Rodgers. You're going all in with Jordan Love. I think you got to go offense here. They need some help at tight end. They have some young wide receivers. Now, they are losing Allen Lazard to free agency, most likely. So another name to look at here is Jordan Addison. I think his stock is falling a bit because he did not work out the combine, did not test great. So I think they go tight end here, and the best available tight end here is Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. Very solid tight end, had 800 yards receiving last year, 8 touchdowns, and kind of a run-heavy offense that is very similar to what the Packers run. You know, it's kind of a same scheme. It's a run-first team, and then they open it up so he can block, he can catch passes. I think that's a really good fit for the Packers there at 15, but the Packers might want to move back, possibly pick up more picks to help build this roster because the defense does need help. But again, if you have a young quarterback and you believe in him, I'm all about going all in on offense for young quarterbacks. You'll figure out the defense, help out your young guys. Okay, Washington here at 16, they are kind of a mess. Sam Howell is going to be their quarterback next year, apparently. There's not really a quarterback for them here at 16. There's not much of what they need at all. You got guards and centers here. I mean, maybe you take a risk. I mean, good God, where are the guards at? Interior offensive lineman. I mean, maybe you go with the best center. I mean, Michael Schmitz is the best center. I think he's better than these two centers right here. He tested great all season. You go Osiris Torrance out of Florida. I mean, I just don't like that. You could go linebacker here. I mean, that's another position of need. They obviously don't need defensive line, but this is not a good linebacker draft, especially here in the first round. It's an awkward fit. They got a lot of receivers. I mean, it's a bad spot for them overall for Washington. I just don't necessarily know what you do here. I mean, you got to go offensive lineman, I think, to help out with your guy. So go with your best rated guard. Go with Osiris Torrance here. It's a bad spot for Washington. I'd really be looking to trade back if I was the Commanders. They need so many pieces. I don't think they're going to be very good next year. Sam Howell, I just don't buy into it. They got good receivers, though. Scary Terry's a boss. John Dotson, when he played, was elite for them. So they have some young pieces. It's just I'm not a big believer in the Commanders whatsoever. Okay, Pittsburgh, another interesting team here. They need offensive line help. They need some linebackers. They could use some defensive guys. They got a young team. They got a good young receiver. They got a good young quarterback in Kenny Pickett. I guess he's not that young. He played forever in college. He was like 27 when he graduated. So I think they go tackle here. Anton Harris out of Oklahoma, best available tackle. Could go Broderick Jones here out of Georgia. I think that actually might fit them a little bit better. Georgia, kind of the similar type offense, kind of grindy offense, play action passing, which is what the Steelers like to do. But Mike Tomlin is a big-time defensive guy. They need some corner help. I think they go with Joey Porter Jr., fitting in with his pops, Joey Porter Sr., going to Pittsburgh. I think Tomlin goes defense. I know I scream preach, help your offense out, but that ain't Pittsburgh's kind of style. They're going to go defense here. I think it's a great fit for them. Really tested well at the combine, flying up the draft boards. I think that's a steal at number 17. Very disappointed that he will not be there for my Vikings at 23. But let's go again to the Lions. Second pick here. Now, they need some help on the defense. Again, like I said, D-line, cornerback, linebacker. Let's go D-line again. Kalijah Cansey falling to them, I think, is a great ad. They already have an interior defense. They have a pass rush that's going. Let's go interior pass rush. The guy is super athletic, a little undersized, but athleticism, undersized D tackles from Pitt. Where have I heard this before? Hint, hint, Aaron Donald. I think he's going to be a very solid starter for them. And now the Lions are building an absolute juggernaut in Detroit. Okay, pick 19 for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No Tom Brady. Looks like Kyle Trask is going to be the quarterback for the Buccaneers. Don't love this whatsoever. They need lots of help. I think they go tight end here. Oh, no. They go Michael Mayer here out of Notre Dame. Didn't have the best combine in the world, but he was the number one tight end. His draft stock has fallen. I think they go tight end there. Get some weapons for your guy. They need some tight ends, but I think they might be competing for the bottom tier this year. I think they're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So get a nice weapon to help to start developing. He'll be there for your quarterback that you draft next year at the top of the draft. I think Tampa's horrible this upcoming season. Not much they can do here. Okay, Seattle back on the clock. This is their real pick here at number 20. Need a guard, need a center, offensive line help. I think you go center here if you're the Seahawks. You got the best available player in the defensive side of the ball with Jalen Carter. I think you go get a center here. I personally think John Michael Schmitz is the best center available. I know what the rankings say. I'm going with Schmitz here. I think he was a road grader at Minnesota. Very productive starter. It's a little early to be drafting a center. There's a lot more value at center, but sometimes Seattle make these little head-scratching picks here. I think this is fine. You have a good team. Could possibly use a third wide receiver. Could see that, but free agency is going to determine all this stuff. I like this as a second pick in the first round. Go get you a center. Go get you a franchise level guy. I think this is a good pick here. Okay, the Chargers here at 21, excuse me. I think you're going wide receiver here for Justin Herbert. You're losing your guy in Keenan Allen, probably a cap casualty. Mike Williams, who knows what he's going to be here. So you got to go get a wide receiver. This is a toss-up between Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison. I think they go Jordan Addison, kind of the USC local kid, stays at home, was very productive for them. I think you go get a guy like him. You have a lot of success. Got to help out Justin Herbert. I hate Brandon Staley. I can't believe he wasn't fired after blowing that playoff game against the Jaguars. He's on very thin ice as it is. Go wide receiver, help out your quarterback. He's going to get paid here soon. Staley probably no longer employed after that one. Okay, the Ravens here at 22. Another interesting spot for the Ravens. They need some help. They need some pass rush. They need a wide receiver. I don't know what you're doing at quarterback with Lamar Jackson. I think they go wide receiver here again. You should go wide receiver here again if you really want to help out Lamar Jackson. You could go with the local guy, Deonte Banks, the corner out of Maryland. Could go safety, but Brian Branch, really interesting pick here at safety. Not everybody needs a safety, and it says I think it's a pretty deep safety draft. Not necessarily everybody's going to be screaming to go get a safety. Not the highest end draft for safeties. Could go Brian Breesy on the D line. I like Nolan Smith also as an edge rusher, but I think you go wide receiver here for Lamar Jackson. Going to go with Zay Flowers out of Boston College. You need to help Lamar. He's really frustrated with this team. He's possibly playing under the franchise tag. They could get a deal done. I just don't know. It's an awkward situation for them. Okay, my Vikings here at 23. I think Brian Branch is the move here if the Vikings do end up cutting safety Harrison Smith. They did go safety last year with Lewis Seen. They could also go Deonte Banks. They cut Cameron Dantzler. I think this is a toss-up. They could use D-line help, offensive line help. I think this is more of a fit for Brian Flores' defense, but I think you need corner more. I think they go Deonte Banks at corner if they do not end up signing a corner or drafting a corner. I think he's a big addition to this defense. Really strong. Need a guy like him. Really lightning speed. Like I said, some good receivers in the division, and this was the worst pass defense in football. They need some help, so I think this is a good ad for the Vikings. Now, the Jaguars run up and punch in this card. They go Brian Branch here. They need some secondary help. A defensive help going for them. Could go center guard here. I think it's a little early for them. I think you're going to be able to get that in the second round. Have a fantastic offensive weapons around Trevor Lawrence. Kind of the surprise team. Won the division. Won a playoff game. Played Kansas City pretty tough. Let's tighten up that defense a little bit more. We'll get the weapons with Trevor Lawrence. He's developing into a great quarterback, offensive guy, head coach. So I think this is a very good Jaguars team next year. Okay, the Giants gave Danny Jones the big bucks. He's got a nice fat contract. They tag running back Saquon Barkley. They need some offensive weapons desperately. Need a wide receiver, need a tight end. Now, there could be a reunion incoming with Odell Beckham Jr., but I think you have to go wide receiver here. I know it's a little high, but 26 isn't bad. Josh Downs, wide receiver out of North Carolina. Nathaniel Dell, wide receiver out of Houston. Both solid guys. I think they end up going with Downs a little bit more well-rounded of a product, a little bit more proven here. I think that's where the Giants go. Need some skill position help. Really nice ad for them. Okay, Cowboys. What are the Cowboys going to do? I think this is kind of a Jerry Jones rogue pick here. Not necessarily too roguey of a pick, but this has got Jerry Jones written all over it. I think the Cowboys go Bijan Robinson if he is sitting there, running back out of Texas. Zeke's done. Probably going to end up cutting him. His contract is terrible. They franchise tag Tony Pollard. He's coming off of an injury, though. Broke his ankle in the playoff game against the 49ers. I think they go running back Bijan Robinson out of Texas. Jerry likes those kind of running backs. He's an every down type of back, and he's the best running back in the draft. Some people have him pegged as the transformative prospect, the best running back prospect graded by multiple people in a long, long time. I think he slides just because the value of running back isn't necessarily there, and this screams Jerry Jones pick right here. So I'm going to go Bijan Robinson out of Texas for your Dallas Cowboys. Now, we got the Buffalo Bills on the clock here, and they need help. I can't explain why the Bills can't run the football. Maybe it is interior line issues. I think they go guard here. Possibly you look at going on the defensive side of the ball, go with a DB. They are getting a little bit older. Let's look at the corners. Emmanuel Forbes, kind of okay. Cam Smith is a guy who dropped a little bit, but I think this is where they go. I think Cam Smith goes ahead of Emmanuel Forbes. He was very well rated coming out. Initially, he's sliding a little bit. I think you go on the defense. They go build up the defense. They're going to still hand the ball to Josh Allen, make him carry this offense. Stephon Diggs, maybe they draft a wide receiver. Maybe they trade for a running back. Dalvin Cook, maybe you got a Cook backfield in Buffalo. But I think this is what you go with. They got a Sean McDermott defensive head coach. You add to that secondary. They couldn't stop a nosebleed against Cincinnati. They need defensive help. That's how you beat these teams. You got to slow down the offenses, and there are some offensive juggernauts at the top of the AFC. Okay, Bengals here. I think they go D-line. They keep adding to that defense. I know they need some offensive line help, protect Joe Burrow, but that's where they like to spend their money. I think they go Brian Breesy here or Nolan Smith, and I think you go with the athletic edge Nolan Smith, potentially rotational guy. Maybe I'm undecided. See, I'm waffling back and forth here. You know what? Let's go Brian Breesy here. Interior defensive line help. We see how good pass rushes are from the interior defensive line. Kind of a no-name defense for the Cincinnati Bengals. Go interior. Go with the best available defensive lineman here. I think this is a good fit. Bengals need to slow down that Chiefs offense. Couldn't slow down the Chiefs enough in that AFC title game. So let's buff up the defense. We know how good the offense is. T. Higgins, kind of a question mark. Is he going to come back? Is he going to get traded? I think they keep T. Higgins and the offense rolls, and you just keep adding to that defense. Try and shut down the Chiefs. Try and shut down the Bills and find yourselves in the Super Bowl once again. Okay, now we got the Saints. They ended up getting back into the first round thanks to a trade with the San Francisco 49ers. They gave away their pick to Philly, but now they're back. They signed quarterback Derek Carr to a couple-year contract, so they got the quarterback situation figured out. Wide receiver, a little bit of a question mark. What are they going to do with Michael Thomas? Chris Olave had a fantastic rookie season last year. Very nice for them. I think they go edge rusher here. Cam Jordan getting up there in age, was still a very productive pass rusher, but Nolan Smith out of Georgia, a very nice replacement. Super athletic, a 4.39 40. I think you have to scoop this up if you're the Saints. Really get a replacement pass rusher. And the Saints, you're in a bad division. This team could definitely be good enough to win that division. It's a huge, huge question mark what this division is going to look like. A lot of unproven and or bad quarterbacks. So it's right there for the taking for the Saints. Are they a competitive team in the playoffs? I don't think so. It's a lot. They need a real rebuild here in New Orleans, but Nolan Smith is a very good start for them. Okay, your defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles back on the clock here. I know they went corner at number 10, but they got to replace 3 corners, it looks like, starting on that defense. I think they go corner here again. Says potentially interior offensive line. I think Kelsey will be back. I think you're able to address that later in the draft. I'm going corner here. I'm going Emmanuel Forbes. Corner for the Eagles to help replace the depleted secondary. Fresh young guns, reinforcements. Defensive line still good. Re-sign Brandon Graham. That helps them out a lot. I don't think they go wide receiver. Got A.J. Brown. Got Devontae Smith. They can figure out a third receiver much later in the draft. I don't think you're going to need to go to receiver here at 30. But let's wrap this thing up with your defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs need a wide receiver. Chiefs need D-line help. They get rid of Frank Clark. They let him go. I think you go Myles Murphy here, edge rusher out of Clemson. Maybe you go Will McDonald the 4th. I think this is a good fit for Kansas City. Re-up that defense. They'll figure out wide receivers, where to go, what to do. Mahomes can make all this stuff work. But that's going to do it. Let's recap our first round here for our mock draft. We got the Panthers at number 1 with C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young to the Texans at 2. Will Anderson to the Cardinals at 3. Anthony Richardson to the Colts at 4. Jalen Carter to your Seattle Seahawks at number 5. Christian Gonzalez to the Detroit Lions at 6. Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky, to Vegas at 7. Tyree Wilson to the Falcons at 8. Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Bears at 9. Devon Witherspoon to the Eagles at 10. Peter Skorinski, the tackle, to the Titans at number 11. Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver, to the Texans. Get him paired up with Bryce Young. Paris Johnson to the Jets. Tackle, protect Aaron Rodgers potentially. Luke Van Ness to the Patriots at 14. Dalton Kincaid to the Packers at 15. Osiris Torrance to the Commanders at 16. Joey Porter Jr. to Pittsburgh at 17. Kalijah Cansey to the Lions at 18. Michael Mayer to the Buccaneers at 19. John Michael Schmitz to the Seahawks at 20. Jordan Addison to the Chargers at 21. Zay Flowers to the Ravens at 22. Deontay Banks to the Vikings at 23. Brian Branch to the Jaguars at 24. Josh Downs to the New York Giants at 25. Bijan Robinson to the Cowboys at 26. Cam Smith to the Bills at 27. Brian Brees to the Bengals at 28. Nolan Smith to the Saints at 29. Emmanuel Forbes to the Eagles at 30. And Myles Murphy rounding this thing out to the Kansas City Chiefs at 31. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is Mock Draft 1.0. We're going to have a few more of these, obviously post-free agency. Looking to get together a live stream possibly with a few other creators on YouTube to hammer out a live mock draft. So stay tuned for that. Also, check out the link in the comments below. It is March Madness. We are opening up a tournament bracket for everybody on the channel. There will be a prize awarded to the winner of the bracket, the whole shebang. So it's free to play. Just join in. I'll put the link in the comments below or in the description below. So check that out if you want to join. Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.